Hey, Eurovision fam! I mean, as you can see, I am not alone today, and I'm so excited because y'all are my first act from Festival da Canção this year that I'm interviewing, and I'm really excited.
I got a new video. I got a new video. Alesia Michelle.
Hey girl,
I'm ready to go.
how you feeling?
Eurovision fam. Are you ready for the show?
I admit that I might be a little bit biased. As an American, really it's nice because third party, non involved, I can just watch Eurovision, sit back and relax.
For the
But
time being,
for the time
because
being, but I will say I might have a little bit of a bias for Portugal at Eurovision. And I'm just going to say, y'all didn't let me down. The songs, this might be the strongest selection of songs at Festival da Canção, and your song was one of the songs that really stood out to me. So I'm gonna stop talking. Introduce yourselves.
okay, but I think we are very curious about how a person in the States is so dedicated now for more than 10 years to the Eurovision and to the Festival da Canção. It's actually quite interesting to us. So if it was the other way around, we could just interview you because we're very curious. But that's not the case. We can do the both of the interviews. But to begin with, I'm Joaquim. I'm the author invited because the Festival da Canção has a slightly different process than other um, competitions that go to Eurovision. So it is by invitation, most of it. So Festival da Canção and RTP, which is the national broadcast company, invites authors to compose and write songs, and then the authors choose who's going to perform it. For the past years, they also have free applications, and a lot of good songs are coming in through that avenue in increasing numbers of applications with increasing quality. So it's been quite impressive the past 7 years, past 8 years of Festival da Canção in terms of the way people engage and are looking with different attitude to the festival. But yeah, I was invited, and I wrote this song. It's called Sapatos de Cimento, which in English means concrete shoes or cement shoes, depending on where you are on which side of the Atlantic. Um, and the song asked for certain type of voices, and because it was written for a group of voices, a little bit like those old school disco choruses or chorus lines. There's no lead singer. It's about an arrangement of a collective voice, and that's what I wanted and what I envisioned. And actually, the goal was, let's bring back the Eurovision quartet. Let's bring back the ABBA format. Let's bring back the Brotherhood of Men format, and also Portuguese song from the 70s, a band called Gemini also had that format, to two men, two women, and then always in unison or slight harmony as a plural lead voice. So that was the kickstart. So that's where Catarina, Ola, and Rafa come in. I needed these kind of voices that complemented each other, but also more than voices, their energies and the way they behave. Their story was also very important to the song, because I wanted to know what was their cement shoes, what they were getting free of. So that energy and that story was also very important for the kickstart of this. So that's it. Esse Povo is what becomes out of the necessity to bring life to the song. So first was the song, then came the group.
And actually, I think that that's why I think Festival da Canção has actually had this nice sort of rebirth and I think people appreciating it a little bit more at Eurovision and appreciating what Portugal is bringing, because there does seem to be this level of intentionality. But I would also say sonically, it feels really modern. Although when I first heard the song, it feels modern, but I felt like this kind of comfort. I was sitting in a car when I listened to the songs first, like on my computer, and I really like to kind of test out listening to a song in the car. I think it feels a little bit different. So driving at night in the mountains, not a lot of light, and listening to the song sort of gave me this comfort and reminder of that Lionel Richie song. Uh,
Dancing on the Ceiling
Gama, Donna, Fiesta,
all
Forever.
night long. All night
Yeah,
long.
all night long.
Yeah.
And so I sort of was like, this is what it's reminding me of. Without sounding like it, it reminded me of something that felt, sort of comforting and like familiar, but still really modern. How did you find the singers to bring the song to life?
Well, in a very modern fashion, which is basically Instagram stalking. Um, so to be honest, like hashtag singers, hashtag Portugal, and let's go see what Instagram gives me. No, that was a way of doing it, but mostly about asking friends about references. And Catarina came referenced by colleagues that I produce with. And then, we're working with her. You should check her out. And like it was instant click. Ola was actually Catarina referred Ola, and then Rafa was another friend referred to me. Check him out. Send me Instagram, and I addressed them all separately on their DMs.
So full disclosure, we set this interview up via Instagram. So Instagram is where it's at. It's going down in the DMs. It's happening. All right. Well, I want to turn to the singers a little bit. Could you tell me a little bit about what your experience was like when you first heard the song?
I liked the energy very much. It really sounded a lot like some kind of summer party, but also football. And I love the lyrics, the freedom that it talks about, and the whole message, and the way it just grows and builds up to a full firework at the end. I really loved it, and I was very excited for it.
Yeah, same. When I didn't know Key, and so I got the phone call. I was like, okay, I'll send you the stuff over, and I had no idea what to expect. And I don't know, I just felt like it was so vibrant, and I couldn't sit still. I just really wanted to move, and it just made me so happy. I feel like the energy of the song was just so uplifting, and to me, like, this challenge and the song came at a really, really interesting time. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm feeling, and it just makes so much sense. And like, I don't know what it is, but I want some. And yeah, so it was just vibrant. And I feel that we just really clicked together as a group. So that energy, we haven't lost it since the first time I heard the song until now. It's just like it keeps building, and we feel like we're like this as a group. So it's very exciting, I think.
Sometimes when you have people sort of put together, I think some people would say like, oh, okay, like, is it gelling? Is it vibing? But I also think that there can be a real synergy of sort of having different folks that maybe haven't worked together, because you have the opportunity for surprise and the opportunity to kind of feed off of each other in that way. So with that said too, have you already sort of thought about how this song is going to kind of come to life when we see it live in the semifinals?
We've had some ideas, nothing very specific.
Actually, if I can say it in another way, we've been obsessed with it for the past months or so. We already started intense rehearsals. So choreography is a big part of it. So because to make justice to the reference, it's not going to be one of those two-step kind of performance, ABBA style, very focused. It's not going to be that. It's going to be.
King may or may not do a stage dive.
May or may not.
So.
And there's also with the choreography, the whole cameras design and everything.
So yeah, we invested. We wanted to visualize some of the interesting rhythmic aspect of the songs. In terms, there's a lot of syncopated accents, and there's a lot of fun stuff to surprise and to emphasize that with some kind of dancing. Because when we thought about staging, the first image that we got was the 4 vertical mic stands. And what would the Supremes do? What would the, that kind of Supremes or 4 tops, that kind of slick, elegant, but they will always take risks in certain, the way they move, syncopated or synchronized or not synchronized. So that was very interesting to look at and to study and to bring in. So that was the beginning of it. And then the song took over, and the way Maria Antunes, which is our friend that's choreographing the performance, brought a lot, because the song itself has also a lot of elements that might seem anachronical, they don't belong together, but they make sense because there's a lot of Portuguese and African rhythm aspects that we bring. So there's this Afrobeats aspect about the rhythm, but then he has this kind of funk soul pulse to it, very classic. So they have that juxtaposition. In terms of harmony and melody, there's a lot of colors that are classical from Portuguese tradition, but at the same time, there's a lot of pop and R&B intonations in there. So for dancing in the performance, we wanted to do that also. What it is classic, what it is theatrical, what it is modern and pop, and we put everything in a liquefier, and he came out something that we're really proud of. And we still have a lot of work to do, but we're already very happy.
So I will say one of the things, and now I'm starting to remember, I'm like, yes, this is why I like what Portugal gives. I think every time I've talked to Portuguese artists about their music, when they go back and kind of talk about influences and references of the song. So you got the Supremes, the 4 Tops, Afro beats, and I'm kind of going back to Eurovision 2021, where I had a conversation with the Black Mamba, and I was like, I'm getting like funk, I'm getting like Prince, all the references are sort of there. For all of you, this is a question for all of you, like just as artists, who were you listening to growing up? And like, what are you listening to right now?
Wow.
Beyonce, Jennifer Hudson. Opera too.
Not opera, opera.
Opera.
It's different. No, I think
I'm sorry.
Go.
No, I was just gonna say I grew up listening to a lot of gospel music, a lot of Latin America and world music as well, and jazz as well, like Nora Jones. And then I feel like I evolved into kind of an indie zone, and I'm transitioning into pop, I would say. So somewhere between Ben Howard and Dua Lipa, I would say.
Yeah, it's the same beautiful mess over here. So it's first it begins with the collection of records of your parents that by definition is already a beautiful mess. So in my home you had Zeca Afonso, which is Portuguese 60s 70s kind of troubadour, but he already mixed all these Portuguese and African languages into intervention music. And then you had best of a Black Sabbath, and you have a Cat Stevens records, and then you would have some soul records in there. So that mix I think is at the basis. And then growing up, you had the metal records, the punk hardcore phase, but the Beatles and soul was always there. And then that's it. And then growing up, in every single party you would have the pop songs and hits of the moment mixed with some kuduro section or some funana or some kizomba. So those pulses will always been there for us, regardless of the fact what on our iPod. That kind of claves were always there. I think everybody's sensitive to them because it's part of being Portuguese at this moment.
Yeah, Brazilian music also. It's very present, yeah.
I actually had the really unique opportunity. I've never ever experienced a Eurovision artist outside of, I guess, Celine Dion, but a Eurovision artist, and definitely not of the modern era in the States. Motto did a North American tour and actually came to DC. So I was really excited to see her there. And, Motto had like this career sort of before coming into like Portugal's like song contest last year, and Motto came pretty high, came fifth in the jury, I think, and then ninth overall, and the Black Mamba was ninth overall at Eurovision. It does feel like there's this kind of Portuguese renaissance happening at the song contest. How has that, do you feel that now? Do you feel a little bit more of that energy surrounding the national selection at all?
Absolutely. Personally, I've been a fan of Festival da Canção and Eurovision since ever. So since Portugal went into Europe, so 86, that became like a cornerstone of your year. You would have the whatever football competition, special events or dates, and Eurovision in the beginning was that. And then throughout the Eurodance years, like I would like to call it, it lost a little bit of the drive and the appeal, and that by consequence, the music community just stopped seeing that as a platform for whatever, either promotion or a challenge, because it aesthetically was very, very, very determined, very focused on that kind of modern Eurodance Schlager kind of approach. And in 2017, the RTP, the national broadcast, wanted to let's make the peace, let's fill in the gap between Festival da Canção and Eurovision and the increasingly creative and vibrant music scene that Portugal has. And the first year, straight out of the bat, Salvador Sobral. It's like first year. So everybody said, oh, it's possible to be unique and to be, unformatted and be considered and be seen. And that I think is the touchstone of the way people start to relate with the Festival da Canção, which is you are rewarded by being unique. So that's what I think what people are feeling in terms of the way they are applying and writing and thinking about their performances in Festival da Canção. It's like, how can I make this stand out without losing sense of me as an artist or us as a group? How can we just stand unique and make unique performances and applications here? And then that increased the overall sentiment and overall attitude of the community. That's how you get songs like Mimi Cat or a song like Maru or a song like, it's like, if you didn't see the image or the flag, you say, do they all come from the same country? Probably not. So that's the culture of the Festival da Canção these days, like risk, always, uniqueness.
I think for me coming to Eurovision, that's what I love. I want to hear the different songs. I want to hear native language. I want to hear a genre. I want to hear a mashup of stuff. Yeah. I like the risky stuff. And I actually think a lot of the Eurovision viewing audience is increasingly, and we see it in the televote numbers, more interested and hungry for that. I think if anything, it was the juries who are kind of, staying true to this, power ballad or, really bombastic pop song. And then you'd have the televote kind of go, I want that weird song with the white voice and the techno dancing, and like all of this, like, that's the thing that I want, that feels different and different, and I would say, but still somewhat gives a nod back to the country that they're representing, in a sense. And so with that, I kind of asked, like, for all of you, how does it feel to be entering this selection, knowing that potentially on the other side of that, it could mean representing, this country on this global scale?
I haven't thought about that yet, but in one part, it feels very natural because we've actually been building this for a long time now, and the process has been very natural and gradual. Does this word exist? I guess. And on the other side, of course, it's super exciting and emotional. But it's cool because, I mean, we are Portuguese. I love to be Portuguese, and it's lovely to represent my country if it happens, of course.
Yeah, I just feel really honored. This whole experience has been just so rewarding. I feel like if it were to finish now, I would already be so full and take so much with me. And to be able to share that with other people at home and is already very exciting. And then, to go even further and take that abroad, I feel like above all, that would be a great honor. And I feel like it would be really authentic. I feel like this whole experience has just been supernatural and and authentic. It's just like, we finish our rehearsals or start our rehearsals pretending we're Beyonce. And, we just laugh. Today, Rafa, the other guy, he was teaching us how he cries.
There we go.
The devil.
Timing. Perfect.
You made it. So it's just been super authentic. And I also feel that, the content of what we're bringing sonically is a melting pot. I feel that we as a group, we're a melting pot, and that's, we're in Lisbon, most of us, and that's what we live, right? You grow up with people from a lot of Portuguese former colonies. And so to be able to have something musical that just brings so many different roots and so much of who we are as a people, and then also speaks of being free and letting go. I just feel that people really, really need to hear that, especially in our culture. We lived in a dictatorship not that long ago, and that's still present in our culture today. Like my parents' generation, they lived a war. What Ukraine is going through now. Like my mom came from Angola during the war, and so our generation is the generation that does Erasmus and travels and studies abroad. But that's something still quite new. And so to be able to share that and seeing that, I just feel that it's exciting and it's authentic, and it would be an honor.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. No, as it's scary if you think about it like that. It's like, oh, there you go. You're chosen to carry the representation of the way 2 billion people will understand what is today Portugal musically. That's a huge luggage and responsibility. But then again, it's, I think, something that we shouldn't really think about, or should we be concerned? Every now and then we have these conversations, what ifs, and we just focus on the first qualifier, which is what we have. It's our task now, is the first qualifier. Competition concerns exclusively. But it's like the Catarina said and Ola said, is like I'm already so happy that we found this combo of people, because the origins and the stories and the experiences have so much different stuff, and at the same time so much common stuff. Like Rafa is an immigrant from Brazil living for 6 years now in Portugal. Ola is the Angolan descent. I, for all that matter, past generations were born in Portugal, but Portugal by definition is a beautiful mix of Arabic, Celtic, African. So we have all those mixes. So to be able to create something so naturally represents that vibrancy and that mix. For me alone, artistically, it's already a win. And I think we managed to do that, and doing that in a pop, vibrant, effective, in engaging, and somehow exciting way, like I think we're already doing. Just already, it's a double win. So if you made it to the final, or if you made it to Eurovision, it's just bonus. It's just bonus at this point.
I think I'm gonna try to pull Ruffin.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, if you come off mute, let's see if we can hear you.
Yeah, maybe the reception is not good enough to. Sorry, but he wrote a little message here, so I'm gonna translate it. To go back to the question that you did, he says that to present myself at the Festival da Canção actually is the realization of a dream for me, as a singer that's starting a career now in music in Portugal. I feel that this opportunity, somehow is a lifetime opportunity, and it's probably going to be a very good boost, and a very important boost for his career. I hope so. I really hope so, because Rafa, everybody's super talented in this group. All these three beautiful souls and voices have a lot to give to music. But that is one of the most gratifying aspects of this project for me. Also, is the opportunity to find new voices and new identities, new stories, and it is quite an important stage. So to give all the three of them the opportunity to be heard, it's actually one of the reasons that makes me the happiest about this. But yeah, I'm more than anything, I became a fan of any of Rafa and Catarina.
Well, thank you so much. I know you guys have a really busy schedule, and so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me, and best of luck. Break a leg. People will be rooting for you. Thank you so much.